Thanks, BC. Back to you, Professor Otubanjo. A whole lot has been said on this particular issue, which is very, very dicey, and you've just stated it. You say, well, the structures are with the governors, and whether you like it or not, if you don't kowtow with the governors, then you really can't have it your way. Yes. But if you look at it critically, the way forward in our polity is what we're bothered about, because it would seem that trouble brewing in any political party, especially the ruling party at the center, could spell doom for some other parts of the country. Yeah. How do we move on from what it is now, with the complaints coming from the aggrieved members of the PDP after the Congress? Yes. Even the ones in Enugu State is another big one. Yes. In Enugu State, knowing full well that the Deputy Senate President is from that state. Yes. And the governor seemed to be going for the Senate, and it would seem that he too will be losing his seat. How do we, how do they become fraudulent?
In the Enugu case, there's almost a balance of forces. It's a clash of titans. You have the Deputy President of Senate and the governor, so that's a massive clash. And
so being an outgoing governor doesn't wither his powers?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't, because he's still there. He's going to be there until the elections. So all the resources at his disposal will be put to use. But I think the critical point is that, again, you have the Deputy Senate President being able to control the party structure and to control the World Congress process, so that the results are in his favor as of today, unless they cancel it. So that if you go to Congress, he's likely to defeat the governor for that seat. So that is an unusual case in which massive forces are pitted against massive forces. But in most cases, the governor simply overruns his opponent when he wants to go to Senate. Hardly can you expect him to lose, because he has the resources in his, he has the control and so on.
Do you see any implications? Because some people are actually looking beyond what has happened in the World Congresses. Yes. And the fact that the governors, if eventually they decide to run for Senate, yes, the ones that have finished their second terms, yes, and that's a lot of them, yes, they find that they might be populating the Senate. Do you see any problems for the Senate, come 2015, when the 8th Assembly will be sitting?
Yes, there will be problems arising from former governors coming in large numbers to Senate. But don't forget that there will still be less than 1/3 of the Senate.
What problems do you see? What problems do you see?
I'm not sure that people who are used to an authoritarian culture will feel comfortable in an environment, or will be capable of giving out policies that are in the interest of the people. I'm not happy that governors are going to Senate. That's not something that I really support. These are people who have controlled massive resources, and I'm not sure that what they're going to do there is just not to just take a leave and just hang around and be relevant. I don't see that they will be effective in terms of that they will be attentive enough to be effective. They will be distracted. They are not the ordinary type of people who have struggled to go there. They are people who are looking for some comfort zone. They don't want to be totally out of it after leaving the governorship. So being called a senator is also attractive, and having somewhere to go and still picking up some allowances and still be relevant. So I'm not sure those are the kind of people we want in Senate.
Sorry, some people will say that, following that line of thought, yes, about governors not being the right people, yes, in terms of what they're going to be offering, yes, to the Nigerian people. Yes. How would we say, I'm just looking at how it's going to pan out in terms of them even getting used to, say, the democratic settings? Yeah,
that's part of the problem. That's why I said they are used to control the executive. They call themselves executive governor. There's no one like that. But most people call them executive governor. The constitution says the governor shall be the chief executive. It doesn't call them executive governor. So when you have a mindset of an executive and you go into a chambers in which you are just 1 out of 100 and something, it takes some time to adjust. But I think they will adjust. But I'm not sure. My worry is that would they be effective lawmakers? They are not likely to be. I'm not sure. But there are no statistics to show that those who are there are worse than those who are not former governors. So we cannot.
I was going to ask you something
on that, yes.
along the line of political careers, because oftentimes when you're in the line of work, a lot of people will say if your line of work is going to end at some point, they begin to ask, what are you going to do? What you find is a lot of them do not quite know what to do. Do they really have a role for, say, ex-presidents, ex-governors who decide not to go into, continue in any political office? Do we really have a role for them to play in society?
Oh, really? They do have a role. They have a role in helping to develop the area, bringing businesses, using their expertise to connect with all kinds of people, both inside and outside, who can bring development to their country. These are big voices, and they have resources themselves to invest.
I've been listened to within their party, because sometimes people say that they continue in this manner because they want to continue to have a say within their party.
Yeah, they want to be relevant. Yeah, everybody wants to be relevant. There are still people in their 50s and maybe early 60s, so they don't want to retire yet. So they're just finding somewhere to go. That's my worry, that is some movement into a place that will not totally make them relevant. But whether they will be effective there is a different matter.
Prof, we talk about high cost of governance and the need to cut down on the cost of governance. And there are those who believe that the processes that lead to the elections of these public officers are up to this high cost of governance, because the political parties use public funds to fund their election process of their candidates and all of that. How do we move away from this point? I mean, if you have the play or the practice being murky, how can we have credible and credible elections moving forward?
Yeah, you see, democracy is organic. We are going to grow it. You grow it.
But how can you grow it one day? How can we have grow it with the waters remaining so to speak?
You grow it. People, some aberrations have taken place. People are complaining. As a result of that complaint, some development will come. We will involve a little more. It's not going to happen in one day. One of the major problems of our democracy, unfortunately, I keep repeating it, is poverty. How you can manipulate people in large numbers to come and do their bidding. I don't think anybody will do that to you. Nobody is going to ask you to come to a rally and give you 500 naira. No, but there are millions of people who are still susceptible to that. So, like Jesus said, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and Nkrumah said, translate this, seek ye first the political kingdom. Now, we have to seek first the economic kingdom, empower our people, so that they don't follow foolishly their leaders and allow them to be used for all kinds of manipulations.
But
so that takes time. So as long as we are still a poor country, we are going to get the result of poverty.
Is that what...
the politics of poverty is what we are going to get.
Is that what the governor has called the stomach infrastructure?
It's what they are calling stomach infrastructure.
The question is, with those political leaders...
Don't let us run away with it. We can pontificate from now to tomorrow. Those who are out there who are waiting for rallies, because that's the opportunity they have to get a bag of rice and a pack of salt and so on. They are waiting. They are not going to listen to you.
Will the leaders allow the empowerment of those people that they can easily manipulate?
Yeah, the system will do so. The Nigerian economy is not massively, it's a growing one. We are the biggest in Africa today, and gradually we are going to take away people from this poverty gradually. Particularly if we have deliberate poverty alleviation strategies, which unfortunately we don't have. I was reading something about China, that they have planned to take 80 million out in the next 5 years. They have taken 160 million out in the first 10 years of the program. So you have to have a deliberate program in which you take people away from poverty into the middle class. And once you get them there, then the politics will be different. When we had some summit here, the Minister of the Economy in France said his expectation of Nigeria is that as the businesses grow, the culture of governance will bend to the business. What? The culture of governance will become the culture of business, not the other way around.
How lucrative.
So, in the same way that poverty is dictating the kind of politics that we have. And once we get out of poverty, we are likely to move to a different level of politics. Don't look for a miracle that things will change overnight. It will not. As long as the majority who participate are poor and hungry.
Well, focused on the Senate, you know, well, one of the things that the Senate President did mention was how he was going to wade into the matter in the House of Representatives, the defection of the Speaker and all. Today, judgment will be delivered in terms of whether or not the House will be able to reconvene by itself, and whether or not, you know, we're not quite sure what the prayers, clearly what the prayers are, but one of the terms is whether the House will be able to reconvene without the Speaker calling for them to reconvene. What is your take on what is happening in the House of Representatives?
Well, really, we know for a long time that Tabua was going to leave, and that was already there. Now, the truth of the matter is that our people in Yoruba say, Amoko, not person, that your load is bent. And he said, the one will say, you are looking at the top, you are not looking at the, you are looking at the consequence. You are not looking at the process. This guy has always been out of PDP. His mind has been out of PDP. And you see, at the beginning, even to become a speaker, he went into alliance with other opposition parties. So, really, what is critical? You should ask yourself what people should condemn is the fact that for his own personal reasons, because he wanted to avoid any prospect of being taken out, he closed down the House of Representatives for 1 whole month.
Well, Prof, I think
that is a serious matter.
No,
but I'm not sure whether we can discuss it.
No, we can. First, we can't. First, the case is in court, and secondly, he wasn't the one who moved for the adjournment. So we have to give him that.
He wasn't the one who was.
It wasn't the Speaker who adjourned till that time.
No, he was the one who mentioned it.
No, he wasn't the one. Someone put the motion for adjournment to that very day, and before he hit the gavel, he
so why is there a clamor for the opening? Why are some people manipulating to the opening?
Because he left finally. But anyway, we'd like to thank you so very much for finding time to join us. We've been talking with Professor of Political Science, Femi Otubanjo, looking at political parties and internal democracy, seeing all of the power play involved in all of this. And he says, well, we have to take out poverty for us to forge ahead if we must get it right, politically speaking, in our governance. Once again, thanks for coming on the program. Well, Sarah Zella takes a break now, and we'll be looking at another perspective on the matter. Stay with us.